We'll also ask the riders to remember the type of horse that they're riding, the breed, the color. I mean, there's a lot, anything involved and associated with that horse, we try to engage them in. And believe me, even when you think you're not reaching someone, all of a sudden you're just blown away by, you know, by something. We had a rider was really nonverbal, an older gentleman, and he just started having such a blast. And all of a sudden, I heard, being the instructor, I heard somebody repeating vowels, A-E-I-O-U, and I thought one of my volunteers, was just kind of messing around with me. And I looked, and it was this rider, and I'm telling the people that came from the group home with this particular started crying because he doesn't say anything. He just sits in a wheelchair, and for him to be smiling and just through the whole lesson, A-E-I-O-U, A-E-I-O-U. I mean, that was his way of communicating. So it was truly amazing that he was able to make a connection like that.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And then obviously there are requirements that you guys have for riders, right? I mean, because again, with safety in mind, I know that you guys require the use of hats when you're riding hats, and as well as safety irons.
Right. Yeah, and that's very important. I mean, in some cases, especially kiddos with autism, putting on a helmet, sensory-wise, could be like, pins and needles with me and you. But after 3 or 4 lessons, sometimes, they will forget that, and they will focus on all of the input that they're getting from the horse. We have safety irons. They're a breakaway iron. They have like a big elastic on the outside. So if we had to do an emergency dismount, whether it's through a seizure, or whether it's from the horse spooking, and knock on wood, our horses, we've trained our horses. It's not just a horse that somebody gives you and says, great horse, have fun. They have to be trained. They have to be trained to accept somebody riding up to them in a wheelchair. They have to accept people that are riding off balance. They have to accept somebody who's having a good time and maybe screaming because they're just having fun. They have to accept that, or else you can't have them in the program. And they may have been the best riding horse, but this is a new life. This is a totally different game that they have to be involved in. Our volunteers, we train all of our volunteers. People don't have to have horse experience. They just have to have the passion to want to make a difference. And without volunteers, we don't have a program. I mean, the volunteers are the backbone of our program. So we teach them how to do emergency dismounts. We teach them how to identify a seizure. A lot of times, if it's a small seizure, we'll bring the horse into the middle of the ring, let them go through that, they come out of it, and they're back into the lesson. If it's a grand mal seizure, we're taught how to do an emergency dismount.
Because you guys are certified with yourself and Chris as well.
We're certified through the North American Riding for the Handicapped Association, which basically sets, they're the governing body to do this, and they set the standards and practices. But you also have to be a licensed riding instructor in the state of Massachusetts, a licensed riding stable in the state of Massachusetts, AED, CPR, first aid certified. So there's a lot involved to be able to do this. Now the other thing too is when people are interested in coming to ride, we always ask people to come in and visit us first. We want to make sure that we are a match for the rider. A horse's instinct, they can't reason. They can't say, well, it's a nice day today, I think they can't reason. They are strictly an instinctive animal. So if a horse gets scared, whether it's from being pinched, a very aggressive rider, a squirrel in a tree, whatever the case is, their instinct is to flee, all right? So we have to make sure that we are a good match for the particular rider or potential rider that we may be working with. I would rather be 100% honest, and if I don't think we're a good match, whether it's because of the fact that the rider is just too involved. We can't have 3 or 4 sidewalkers around a horse trying to support that rider.
Yeah.
It gets to a point where it will be unsafe.
Sure.
And if it's unsafe, even if the horse just trips,
Yeah.
even if the rider gets tired and really loses their balance, it becomes very, a very dangerous situation.
Right.
So, we hand select, if you were, the riders that are going to match what we're able to offer.
Right.
And I'd rather have somebody come down, and I'd rather be able to say to them, you know what, we're just not suited. We don't have a Hoyle lift.
Right.
We don't have a horse that's really going to accommodate
Yeah.
the rider. People always shake my hand, and they appreciate the honesty,
Yeah. Right.
versus saying, you know what, I need the money, I'm just going to throw somebody on.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You're talking about someone's life.
Yeah.
And you're talking about a large animal.
Yeah, and how do they, I mean, in terms of selecting the proper horse for the proper candidate, if somebody does enter the program, is there a way that you kind of determine this horse would probably be the best fit for this person?
It's an excellent question. And there are so many things that go on behind the scenes that people don't realize. And that's why we try to get our riders to brush, to pick the horse's feet, to really care for the horses. And in that regard, we have kids that ride with us that have hip dysplasia.
Yeah.
So we're not going to put them on a big, wide, roamy horse because we don't want to injure them. But we also have kids that have, that are on the autism spectrum. And a lot of these kids require a tremendous amount of input. They need to be satisfied that way.
Right.
So we'll put them on a horse that has a big, roamy stride. So they're becoming satisfied. They're staying focused. Sometimes, again, if a kid is just, losing that focus and needs to be refocused, again, we'll turn them backwards, whether they're in a saddle or they're in a bareback pad, refocus them, and then they're back into the lesson, put them back the right way, and they're ready to go.
That's great. And that kind of leads into the exhibition shows, which is really great, because for the participants of the program that start to get comfortable, not only with the horse, it seems like being comfortable with the horse seems to be kind of a primary thing in order to move forward. Then becoming comfortable with themselves, then it seems like the skill level then from that point goes on, and eventually works into these great exhibition shows that you guys host. Do you want to talk a little bit about the exhibition?
Yeah, I would love to. When we first did our very first horse show, and I saw the sea of people coming down our driveway, and we had 25 riders from the program that participated in the show. And what we did is we tailored our horse show based on our experience in regular traditional horse shows. So each one, was judged on a particular thing that they did really well. Everybody got trophies or medals, but I got to thinking, and I see all these people, and these kids in a big group normally don't like that. We're very private. We're in the woods. It's a nice, quiet, experience. And I'm like, oh my God, we're going to have more kids melt down. And I will tell you what, the horse shows that we've been able to put on have accelerated these kids not only physically, but psychologically, because it is their true moment in the sun, okay? And to hear all of these people, cheering them on, all these people here for them, all right? It is so, so, so empowering for them and a huge success. We've also been very, very blessed to have the John and Maggie Bish with the Molly Bish Foundation come out. When I met John several years ago, he really wanted to find an avenue to target children with special needs. And I said, well, we're doing this horse show. And, there's going to be 300 people that are going to be here. And it's like, great. So from that point on, we formed an incredible relationship with them. And we've been able to utilize our program as a platform so that people can become educated for the needs of special needs children. You know, they wander, they're nonverbal, they can be very, very trusting and a prime target for, you know, for predators, for sexual predators. So utilizing the Bishes and the Bishes utilizing our program, I think we've been able to bring a lot more awareness to those with special needs.
So how does that work? Do you have that in addition to, let's say, during your sessions, or you have special days when that program is kind of there and available for kids to do it?
I mean, the Bishes are the type of people that wherever there are children, you will find the Bishes.
Okay.
And, you know, they have done so much for, you know, for passing so many laws and being so supportive, not just for children with special needs, but for children throughout the state and of course, then jump-starting out throughout the country. So wherever you see children, you can always find the Bishes. But primarily, you know, we like to have this go on during our horse show because we get so many people. But you know, we also do an annual hayride, and John and Maggie always want to come out to that too. So, but that's really the time that we target. You know, we target this for the foundation.
That's great, and like you said, the exhibition shows, the horse shows are a great opportunity for that to happen, to kind of correspond to the show and everything. And again, you talk about rewards, and you know, the reward of a child getting cheered on by the crowd for doing something, that kind of connection that they have with an audience, where on a given day during your sessions, like you said, you're in more of an enclosed private setting at the time, so then to have all this exposure must be really great. But some of the clips from that obviously will be showing, which is great for people to be able to see that. But it must do wonders for a child's self-esteem and their confidence to be able to participate in that and to be able to display, you know, their skill that they've gone through. One thing I think you had said is the effect that it has on the kid's psyche of what I can do. Look at what I can do. I've done this, and what else can I do? So it seems to be just to be able to monitor the kid's progress over time, and then on top of that, throw in the social aspect of having all these people watching. But the kids, you had said before, it's amazing the kids' response, whereas you might have expected them to be nervous and actually not even perform, you know, as well as they could have. But instead, you said you're seeing just
over the top,
really great performances.
Over the top, yeah. And you know, we have it's a modest indoor riding arena, and to be honest with you, for me to train a hunter and jumper, well, you know what, it would be really too small for that. But as I said before, our main goal is for all of these riders to become as independent as possible. And I have 3 riders that started with us 4 years ago, 5 years ago, that started with a you know, with a horse leader, with 2 sidewalkers, then 1 sidewalker, and these riders are now riding independently. So with the use of our indoor riding arena, you know, the horse will pretty much stay in the enclosed area so that they can really work on their steering and stopping skills, their trotting skills. I mean, they're doing posting trots. I have one kid that's actually cantering, and they're doing that now in the outside ring. So, you know, as a stepping stone, you know, we always look at what can we utilize, you know, to the highest level to bring these kids to the highest level. And, you know, some things we try don't always work. I mean, that's just a fact of life. But, you know, we always try to improve upon that.
Do you find that a lot of kids that come in for the therapeutic benefit of it actually end up being more kind of interested in learning the vaulting aspect of it, or the more showmanship aspects of it? In other words, a child that might have come in just for the therapeutic benefits, but ends up becoming, I want to be a rider. I want to, you know, start learning more and learning these skills more, you know, to participate in exhibition shows.
Well, and that's actually happened to a kiddo in this neck of the woods. She rode with us for, I think it was 3 years, and Emily is now riding at a stable. She's going into, she rides in hunter jumper classes. She does very, very well. So yeah, I mean, if we can move a kid from our program into, because again, you know, we're limiting what we're going to offer from jumping and things like that.
Right.
But if we can have a kid go from our program, leave our nest, and go to bigger and better places,
Right.
that's what we want.
That's
We
great.
want that to happen.
Yeah,